welcome back to How to Win Series 5. So I hope you have smashed Series 2, 3 and 4 so far. And this is the car we're using for Series 5. So we've got Wild Core still in here at level 5. And we've got some decent parts in here as well. I would recommend though, if you are Series 5, get Zeno on. The reason I'm not using it is because it's quite a high level for Series 5 and I don't want to start too far up the grid. And also twin burst as well. They're two parts to also stick on your car. Drivers, I'm using Piastri and Ocon, but if you can and you've got commons that you can upgrade past these levels, then just simply upgrade them. I'm using them as well to start from towards the back, but if you've got them, use better drivers. That's one thing I will say. So we're racing Series 5, bit of a speed and cornering type track, so I would recommend a balanced setup. So there we go, let's get in to Series 5. First track then, Bahrain. The Sakir Desert comes to Series 5. Like I said, it's a bit of a speed and cornering tracks at times, so best going with a balanced setup. And let's look at the qualifying position. So P12, P13 we're starting. So interesting on the strategy then. So I reckon we go hard and do a 4-4. And we'll do a 3-3-2 with Esteban Ocon. So we're going to push off the straight, as you all do at home. Let's boost away. Fast and an average start. And can we get Ocon through? Anyone want to take an inside line? And they do. So P10, Ocon's still going. All the way up to P4. Great move by Ocon. With Piastri back in P11 at the minute. And we're going to cut these down. So got it all to play for with where the rival is. But we are going to go backwards again on these hard tyres. But a one stop is very powerful. Especially when your pit time is so high. But we've nearly completed lap 1. We've got good power unit level. We're expecting the AI, the rival, to come powering at us any second. And you can see he's there just at the back. The rival's pushing out front. But Bahrain is very much a cornering circuit. Even though it's got some good straights through the corners, you want to be using cornering boosts if you have them. Or a more cornering based setup, but you never know what track you're going to get. That's why you're best going for a balanced setup. But can Ocon, he's holding his own in P4. We've got some rival in the pit as well, the Ferrari, and we move up to P3. And we're looking at Max Verstappen and into P2. Piastri's coming down the straight now up to P8. And P7 even on that one stop. So it's looking pretty good. And we're going to bring in Ocon for some mediums again. We're going to push him to take the lead of this race. That rival can't do 5 laps on the hard, so we know they've got to stop again. And look at Piastri, he's doing pretty good. In a nice handy position. As in comes Ocon. We'll try and get Piastri past a couple. And he comes back out. And here goes Piastri down the straight. Up into P6. And now P5. Or P4 even. So we're P3 and 4. From the back of the grid. And this is what you can do exactly the same at home. Following these strategies, looking after your power unit exactly the same. But Piastri expected to come into the pits. We're just watching both cars. Ocon's going to have a last couple of laps push. As we start lap 5. So into P2. Piastri's in, but it's a slow pit stop. And a component failure, as they always happen. Seems to be every race we get a component failure by the rival. But at the minute, Ocon's in a very handy position. He's almost matching the driver out front. And a component failure as well. So 2 component failures on both of their cars, which is very strange, which tells me this was actually a real player not paying too much attention. Because usually you only get 1 and it's around lap 7. So they're going to fall back. Piastri is pretty solid where he is. And we'll see if I reckon we can get him up a few more positions as the rival comes out the pits, gets done by the slow exit, and we are up to P number 7. Ocon boosting now into pit in P1. And Piastri all over the back of Nico Hülkenberg. Can't make a move as we get a little bit of lag. And Ocon already back out, and I think Ocon's going to rejoin in the lead. And we're going to leave him boost him. Here comes Piastri, trying to get a move done on the Hulk. And we can get the job done. Remember, 50%, 25% a lap will make 100%, which means 4 laps. So we're bang on the 50% at the minute. Ocon's laughing at everybody. He's so far clear. And that is why a 3-3-2 and having your power unit at the end is so powerful. With Piastri, didn't really need his power unit, just did a 1-stop. And that was good enough. As Ocon starts the last lap. So he's all looking good where he is. Piastri coming down the back straight. I mean, he's going to be under pressure towards the end of this race. Especially from that Max Verstappen. So whether or not we can hold on, I probably don't think so. I don't think we've got the tyres. But Ocon's going to complete the deal out front. Signed, sealed and delivered. And that was doing a 3-3-2 with Esteban Ocon. And Piastri now going to be coming under threat. Here comes the boosting rival. We haven't got the tyre management to hold that. So we're going to have to settle with P6 unless we can make a move for Charles Leclerc. And I knew we didn't have any tyres left even if we went past. So it is P1 and P6 in Bahrain. So we move on to Italy and Monza for race 2 of the strategy guide of Series 5. And I'm going to show you how exactly I do a decent strategy here to take the point. We'll probably have another component failure by the rival. We always seem to get that. But we are in P11 and P14. So, strategy-wise, I reckon we could potentially leave one on softs and go mediums on the other. So we're going to do 2 laps with Piastri, 3 with Esteban Ocon. And we're going to push off the line like you should. Good start by Piastri here, race start fast compared to Ocon. And here comes Piastri with that race start. Remember, race start affects a lot on the first lap. If your race start is good, you can make up a hell of a lot of positions. And you can see Piastri getting through the field as well with that good race start. But we're going to cut these down, P11 and P9, as a decent start. And we're going to just watch. We've got 8 laps of Monza. We're going to come under pressure. And rival's pushing hard. We're going to come in on the next lap with Piastri. Here comes the other rival pushing. We're going to try and match with Piastri. It's going to get pretty chaos down here. And somehow Piastri comes out the back in P11. Ocon in the melee makes up a spot. But can Ocon keep this strategy going? Piastri now getting through. He's used all his power unit up. But he's going to come back for mediums anyway. And we're going to have one more lap with Esteban Ocon. So he goes on. We can serve down the straight. And Ocon is up to P5. Got the rival behind and a rival in front. As Piastri comes out, P17. But he'll get done by the slow exit. So P18 it will be. But we've pitted earlier. And we're going to look after the power unit to recharge. And down the straight you can see it does recharge pretty quickly. Ocon's good to go with his power unit though, 100%. And he comes into the pits. Piastri getting that power unit sorted all the time. Coming round the last corner, we'll make some positions up here. And there you go, into P12. And again, slow exit on this corner. So we're just going to wait with Ocon. Play the long game. Look at Piastri's power unit already up to 65%. Back where we started. So that's looking very strong. And we've got another lap on these tyres. And then we'll probably come back for some hards, maybe. Around the last corner we go. Any pit stops? Surely be a few. Yep, there is. So Piastri moves up to P number 8. And Ocon into P11. Very slow round there. And now we'll start to push Piastri a little bit to come back for them hards. Piastri trying to get past Lewis Hamilton. Does now. He's got Lando Norris in front. Which he did have, but is now past. So that's good moving from Piastri, and he comes into the pits. Round comes Ocon for one more lap, and then he'll come out on the softs. Another component failure, as we always get. So remember, you could be following the best strategies, but as you've seen most of the time, we get very tough matchups sometimes as well. So you can't win every race, but if you follow these strategies, you will win more than you lose, which means you will get to the next series. You need to remember that. This is not about winning every single race, never losing. You do have to battle some tough matchups sometimes. And here's Ocon into the pits. Coming back out on them softs. Piastri's getting some power unit back whilst fending off. And he's now P9, P10 for our drivers. And we're getting decent power unit levels back for a last lap attack. That's what we like to see. This is what we've been waiting for. We'll get Ocon through though. Nice team order move there. And then we'll start to push Ocon. So can we make some moves then with these drivers? Piastri just loses a spot. But round comes Ocon into P8. One in the pits, so we overtake Norris. Tsunoda out there as well, but we get Verstappen too. Some good early moves. We're going to hold the power unit for another attack later on in this lap. Piastri looking done in P11. It's pretty hard on this track to overtake. But Ocon's going to make light work of P5. Piastri we're going to boost again. But Ocon's going to come home in P5. And Piastri, round the last corner, does take P10 to get a top 10 finish. And that is a nice, decent points and beating the rival in Monza. The fun of Baku then. So last year it was very much a speed track. But for a lot of the higher players, we did work out that it was a bit more of a cornering track in the end, with that middle section providing a lot more pace than down the straight. Another difficult matchup, bang in the middle of these two. Everyone seems to be this format. And you know what you're going to get. You're going to get another breakdown as well. So we're going to go softs, do 2 laps with Esteban Ocon, and do 3 laps with Piastri. So a 3-3-2 again, and probably a 2-3-3. And can we get off to a good start? It's a slow start by Ocon, but he switches to the inside, gets a nudge off Piastri. And these two settle down, P10, P11. Might be some more chances for overtake, and there is. Keep pushing till about this point here. And there you go, we'll cut down there. And that is all because of that race start. Remember, you get a big advantage for overtaking and defending on the first lap. So you do want to use a fair bit of power unit to make some early moves. And can we then progress through? So we're going to just build up again. 2 laps with Ocon. 3 with Piastri. It makes a good move on Ocon there. This is the first season I've really noticed a difference between harder compound tyres and soft. You can now overtake on conserve. But the rivals pushing, as they always do. And look at that, round the outside, Ocon coming into pit this lap. We're trying to push him to use a bit more. And we're up to P2. Ocon's flying. Remember, we're going to be conserving a fair bit on the mediums on this middle stint, so we can jump ahead while we can. And in comes Esteban Ocon into the bits. Piastri, right on the limit of 3 laps. Remember, if you want to do 3 laps, it's 33% a lap. And we are right on the cusp at the moment on 32 as we cross the line. So, Ocon's got to get some of that power unit back now. But we've done a pit stop already. Piastri's loaded, ready to go. And he's got Ocon just a couple of places behind. We're leading this race in terms of against the rival, though. That's the best part. And we should get a few pit stops now on this lap and the next. But Piastri's going to come in from P7. Ocon goes round, and look at the moves Ocon's making then. Verstappen comes out, gets ahead, but the slow pit exit will slow him down. And that's Esteban Ocon back into P2. Piastri coming out. And we said that he'd had a lot of power unit left. So we're going to use them softs to close the gap a little bit. 3-2-2 with Piastri. And a 2-3-2 with Esteban Ocon, sorry. Might have mentioned a 2-3-3 earlier, but it is a 2-3-2 with Ocon. So that's why we're going to have some power unit for the softs at the end. And he comes round to take the lead of this race. Piastri coming down the straight. P11 currently. These two are going to pit on the same lap. But here's a move by Piastri into P9 now. And we've got a 16-second gap, so we're pretty clear on them. But Piastri now we can push. We can push Ocon as well. And look at that, rivals conserving. And breakdown, there's the famous breakdown. Didn't matter anyway, we were going to destroy this rival. As Ocon then comes in for some softs. Yep, both rivals were behind us. So it doesn't matter where they finish. And in comes Piastri. And we come out in P2. And we're going to just build the unit up. Don't need to push, don't need to panic. We're going to lose his spot to Norris because of the slow pit stop. So we're just going to wait again for a last lap attack on the AI. He's looking pretty good to do so at the minute. Got one more lap after this. We're right behind P1, so we should be able to get P1. And we might be able to get maybe a couple of places with Piastri. But Ocon closing in on Max Verstappen. We're now going to push him. And we can start to push Piastri soon enough as well. So here we go. Piastri now starts the charge. Ocon's in the lead. Piastri's in P8. So he's all clear out front. Look at this. Piastri with a queue ahead of him. Gets P7, or does he? No, he doesn't. Now gets P7. And pushing hard. Ocon wins though. Great race by Ocon. And now we're into P6. Can we get P5? Don't think we can. We're going to run out of power unit as well. But that is a fabulous race. A 2-3-2 and a 3-2-2 strategy to split them up and score some very big points. Our attention moves to Melbourne. Very difficult track last year. And let's see if we can score good points here too. We'll have our standard qualifying, our standard breakdown. It really seems what the bots are doing this year. Really breaking down a lot. We're going to do a 2-2. 2 laps for Piastri first and 4 laps for Ocon doing a 1-stop. Can we get a good start? Remember, race start's going to help us boost through the field in the first lap. So we're going to boost off the line. Ocon gets a slow start, but hopefully he can sort that out on the second burn. And they're spreading out. Piastri gets a better start. Remember, he got a fast start. And look at that, through the pack into P10. I'm going to leave him boosting for a minute, see if we can get any more. We do get P9 though. And now we're going to cut down. We're going to have the rival pushing at one stage, but they'll break down eventually. I wait for the day that I don't get a breakdown race. Don't think it'll ever happen. But Piastri, looking for a move on Perez. Does he get the job done? He does, P8. And the reason we're pushing so much with Piastri is because he's going to pit and then pretty much conserve again until the end of the second stint. He's going to come in probably for some mediums and then cruise. We're just trying to pick up a few extra spots if we can. And he's into P6 at the minute. Ocon holding up the field. And there you go, look at that, P5 for Piastri. He's out of power unit. And we're going to bring him into the pits. So a nice early stop. I think you'll like this early stop strategy. As Ocon gets absolutely crossed on the pit line. But does move up to P12 now. Rivals out on hards. And this is very much a cornering track. So when it comes to playing GP, you want a cornering setup for this track. Over speed, that is for sure. But at the minute, Piastri is going to basically gain a lot of positions when people pit this lap and next. Ocon's going to gain some positions when he pits next lap. He's in P12 at the minute. And look at that. So Ocon will boost a little bit. Come back for some hards in P6. Pit stops coming out. Piastri makes his way back to P11. We're looking very solid at the moment. P4 though, with Ocon. And what about Piastri? Can he make some moves early on? We'll try and get past Carlos Sainz. Can't do it. But we've closed the gap. And that is Valtteri Bottas in P10. Looks like a Ferrari. They're coming into the pits. So we can boost around. And look at that. Chaos in the pits means that Piastri up to P6. And we'll be coming back out for some mediums. We don't want softs. We're still going to try and look after Ocon though. P8. Trying to get past Stroll. And we've made some good moves on a very difficult track so far. as we come into the pits now with Piastri. There's your component failure like we get every race. But remember, this is not about me beating my rival. This series is about showing you the strategies and the setup to use. As Ocon gets into P6. And he's going to be under pressure here from Ocon, but that's okay. Piastri, we're going to look after the tyres first of all. And then we're going to push with what we have left on the last sort of lap. And he's pretty close to his dupe in Piastri as well. Ocon's keeping up the pace on them hards. Piastri looking for a move. A few people looking to pit now as well. So that moves Esteban Ocon doing a 4-4 up to P6. And it moves Piastri into the top 10, P9. And he's going to get ahead of Sainz in P8. So good moves by them. Can we now look? So Charles Leclerc's on soft, so we're probably not going to get Charles. So Esteban Ocon's improvements is probably going to stop here. But Piastri we've got primed. Ready to go. We're going to boost both now, see if we can close the gap. Does anybody pit? They do, so Stroll's in the pit. We're up to P4. Oh, you're going to try and get past Leclerc, but Leclerc's on them softs. So we're probably not going to get past him. We've got Valtteri Bottas coming back past us, though. Unlapping himself. Being annoying. But finally we can. And we've got Piastri in P5. So that is a P4 and P5 from where we were in the grid. At a very difficult track of Australia. And he's going to come home to finish. P4 for Ocon. And Oscar Piastri come home in P5. Last up then we have Austria. 10 laps to come. It is a chance of rain in this one as well. So you're either going to have a dry race or a wet race. But I'd recommend following the same sort of strategy in either type of condition. We've got a dry qualifying. And this season I am finding that you do start pretty sort of mid-pack. You don't always go straight to the back every series. But we've got a wet race. So 3 to 5. Now most of the AI are going to do 5 laps. We don't really have the tyre management to do 5. So we're going to be doing some early stops in this race to try and get through. So Ocon gets a slow start. Piastri with a better start. And we can sort of start pushing now. See if we can get through. So Piastri's in 10th. Should go up the inside here. And does. We're going to keep pushing. And now we're going to conserve down. We're in a bit of a traffic jam. So we're going to cut down and manage a little bit. And then what we'll do is probably do maybe 3 laps and pit lap 4 as well. Separate the driver strategies, but both do a undercut because we're not going to be able to survive on a 5-5. You can see already 77% as we cross the line. And that's without pushing. But Piastri's into P9 on that medium. A boost. And the rival is pushing. Can we get a move done? We're going to lose a spot, but that's okay. At the minute, Rivals used all the power unit, so we can just chill out and see if we can carry on minding our own business in a way. Remember, just mind your own business, focus on your own strategy, and it should prevail. If you get beat by a better strategy, then absolutely fair play. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up. But in this one, we've got Ocon slowly going back, but that's all right. And we're going to pit Ocon. So the reason we're going to pit him early is because we can't do the 5-5. We're going to do an undercut. And we're going to pit Ocon because it gives him more space out the back. If we pit Piastri, he's more likely to come out right at the end and not make any ground up. Whereas we pit Ocon, he's going to have probably a quarter of the lap where he can really push to close up. That means he'll overtake some in the pits. But obviously, we're going to have to do an extra pit stop. So we'll push Ocon and get him closing up. You can see if we would have picked Piastri, he'd have come out right at the end of that group. So here comes Piastri into a pit. So he's doing basically like a 4-4-2 kind of thing. And you can see Ocon now, we're pushing him because we want to get him past these early pitters. The same as us. So you can see Ocon was behind Piastri by about 3 or 4 spaces early on. And now look at him, he's up to P13 or 14, 2 ahead of Piastri. So Ocon, we've got to bring that power unit back for an attack later on in the race. And Piastri, we're going to get past the rival. So we need to try and work our way up here very slowly. Ocon now coming past a lot of cars and he's up to P4. Look at that. Undercut, working the treat. P3 and P4. But remember, we have got to pit again. So we're going to push Ocon with all his power unit. Get him into the lead of this race. And we're going to do one more lap potentially. So that will complete the 3-4-3 strategy for Ocon. And Piastri will do an extra lap after this one. It's all about getting the power unit for a brief stint at the end. But it's kind of like a false position that you're going to be in, because P2 and P4 is a long, long way away from what we were. But it looks good at the minute. So in comes Ocon. Nicely into that pit. Piastri will do one more lap. Got a component failure again, as we always do. Seems to be very, very common on this game. Looks like we've potentially got 2 as well, which is less common. So Ocon comes out P9, so that's pretty good. Now up into P8. Piastri's going to drop pretty far back, I think. But we can't do a 5-5, so we've got absolutely no choice. And we are saving that power unit as Piastri comes in to the pits. Can we get him out in a decent position? Really do hope so. And he's going to be in an alright position, I'll tell you that. Because he's coming out. We've got Ocon P7 and Piastri P8. We might have a last lap pit stop by someone too. I'm going to build the unit up for a last lap dash. And hopefully we can keep Ocon behind us. But here we go. We're pushing as hard as we can. We've got no one really in the pits, have we? No, but we've got Russell right ahead of us and he's now behind. But we've used all that power unit. So it's going to be a lot harder to get by. And here comes Piastri, P6 and P7 now. And in a track that's hard to do, with a lot of the AI following a 5-5, this is going to be a very good result if we can get P6 and P7 secured. We come around the last corner and Ocon's going to get another position, and it's going to be P6 and P7 in Austria. So doing a 3-4-3 and a 4-4-2. So I hope that has helped you smash Series 5. We're getting through the series nice and easy now. Any questions, pop them in the comments below. But we are quickly moving on to Series 6. So we'll see you in the next series.